Hey everyone, it's Mari. Thank you so much for stopping by today. I'm going to be creating another project today for the My Creative Scrapbook Kit Club, and I'm working with the main kit for February. And today I'm also working with their sketch for February. I love the sketch, I think it's super cool, and I'm actually going to interpret it pretty literally. So I'm going to be working with two portrait photos and one landscape photo. These are all printed at 4x3 or maybe even just a little bit smaller than 4x3. I printed them in black and white, and I'm going to be showing you here the papers from the kit that I'm going to be working with. So I'm going to use this photo play paper here with a 4x3 cards on the back. I'm going to use the front side of that as my base, and I just really love the really subtle pattern in this paper. It kind of looks a little bit distressed, and I'm also going to be using the Simple Stories and a Jen Hadfield paper from the kit as well for pieces of the background or pieces of the photo layers, I guess I should say. So the red is going to be one of the layers, the top layer, and the kind of teal colored diagonal paper is going to be the bottom layer of my two layers behind my photos. I'm going to just take this red polka dot paper, and I'm going to just use my pencil here to just mark off what I think the dimensions of the paper should be that work best with what's suggested on the sketch and the size of the photos that I have here. And so I'll just mark that off with my pencil, and then I'll take that to the trimmer here, and I'm going to just trim that up and get that ready to go. This paper is a really, really pretty red. It's kind of almost like a pinky red, and it has a little cream dot. So I just really love it. I think it's a gorgeous paper. I love a polka dot paper, and this one is just perfect for what I wanted to do here with my layering behind my photos. So I'm going to just trim that up and set that aside, and then I'm going to grab that darker teal Jen Hadfield paper and get that measured up as well. So I just wanted to keep putting my photos here just kind of in the basic layout that I wanted to put them in onto the layout, so that I have a good idea of how large I need that next layer of paper to be that is going to also be a matte behind these photos. So there's that teal paper with the, I think it's a black diagonal or a really dark green diagonal stripe in it. And once again, just taking my pencil, making a little mark here so that I know where to cut. And I just want to make sure that this is going to work and before I cut it. So I'm going to just take it to the cutter again here, trim that out, and get that all ready to go. So then I'll be able to just go from there and start working with getting this layout together. So the photos that I'm going to be working with here today are from Crop and Create that I went to. Actually, I think just looking at these, the two photos on the left are for sure from Cornwall, and the photo on the right is from Saskatoon Crop and Create, I think. So Shamel is in the photo to the far left, my sister and I are in the middle, and then to the right, that's Catherine, the owner of Crop and Create and Scrapbook and Cards Today magazine, and then Megan Andrews in the center of that photo. She's one of the designers. I think she also does the social media for the magazine, and she puts kits together. She teaches classes, lots of different jobs that she does for the magazine and Crop and Create. And it was so much fun to spend time with these ladies at a couple of events this year. I was super lucky to have gone to two events and loved each one. So here I've decided I want to add some dimension to this red paper layer, and I just took some cheapy craft foam and added that to the back there. Now I'm just making sure with my T-square ruler before I commit to sticking everything down, just to make sure that I have everything lined up. This is a pretty linear layout, so it's going to be very obvious if something is off and not lined up. So it's always good to take a ruler and just double check and make sure. Now I'm just going to take my adhesive here and stick that craft foam down to the paper below it, make sure that I've got that adhered. And I also just want to go in with my eraser and make sure that none of those pencil marks are going to show on my layout. So I'm just going to take my little white eraser there, get rid of those and those erasures, and I am good to go with doing some more here with my photographs. So I just want to have the two outside photos flat, and then I wanted to adhere that middle photo up on some foam adhesive to give that photo a little bit of lift. So I'm just going in with my Gina K repositionable adhesive here. I like that. I like using a repositionable adhesive on my projects because if you get something in the wrong spot, you can usually fix that. Now, the really nice thing about the foam adhesive that I'm using here as well, the 3M foam adhesive, is that unless it's been sitting on there for a while, you usually have a little bit of time to move things around. So you can see that I'm doing that with that top photo there, just making sure that I have it in the right spot. And once I really press down on it, once I know I have it in the right spot, it is going to stay put, and there's a pretty good chance that if I try to take that off later, once it's been sitting there and I've really burnished it down, it's probably going to damage the paper. So it does stick really well when you want it to. Now I am going to just again take my T-square ruler and I am going to just make sure that I have everything straight. I wanted the first portrait photo on the left and the landscape photo to be lined up on the bottom. And then this photo that's in the center is going to just sort of be a little bit lower than the other two photos. Now I decided that I wanted to use a double layer of foam adhesive on this photo. It just wasn't, I just didn't feel like it was dimensional enough. So I'm just going to add another little layer of that foam adhesive on there, and just to make sure that I'm happy with how much dimension that has. And I'm really liking how that looks. And I think that is where those things are going to stay at this point. So now I'm just kind of looking at what I wanted to do here for embellishments. And I noticed that that end of that landscape photo is just, it needs some lift because of the dimension in that red paper. So I just gave that a little bit of lift with a little bit of foam adhesive on the end there. And now I just wanted to take the edges of those pattern papers and just kind of curl them up a little bit, lift them up a bit, just to make them look a little bit more textured and interesting. And so I'm just going to do that. And now I'm going to start thinking about what I want to do with the embellishment. So I'm going to use some of the die cuts from the So Happy Together die cut pack from Simple Stories. I'm also going to use some chipboard. I created a tag with a stitched tag die in my stash. There is a tag suggestion in the sketch, and I really like that idea. So I used the yellow gingham paper, which on the back side of it had all of those floral pieces. I fussy cut most of the florals out of that paper, but I did cut this tag as well. So I'm going to just take my little hole punch here, and I'm going to figure out where I need the hole to be. So I'm just sorting out where the center of that tag is, and I'm going to put a hole punch in the tag. Then I'm going to just take a little bit of white baker's twine and tie a little bow onto the tag to give it a little bit of detail. This tag is way too long. I'm actually going to cut the tag down and use the rest of that tag paper for a little bit of embellishing. You'll see me do that here in a minute. So cut that down, get that bow in there, and now you can see how I've used the die cut Happy as part of my title, and then a little sticker from the cardstock sticker sheet that says Sisterhood. And so the title is Happy Sisterhood, and I truly believe that crafters are like a sisterhood. We love all the same stuff. We just really love being creative and crafty, and I feel like it's just something that if you are a creator, you totally get it. You understand that we just really love to get together and craft. And if you get to crop with a friend, if you actually go to a crop, or if you just get together with a friend at your house and craft, getting together with people that like to craft is a lot of fun. And that's what this layout is all about. So I like that title, Happy Sisterhood. And now, you know what, I'm just taking some of the little bits and pieces from the kit and adding in some really simple embellishing. Like I said, that one paper, and I'm going to show it to you here in a second, I think, but it is called Love Us, and it's the patterned paper that has the florals on the navy background and then that yellow gingham on the other side. I actually went through and I fussy cut all of those flowers, and you can see them on my mat to the left of the layout. And I'm going to use a bunch of those really tiny little flowers to create some little clusters on the corners diagonally there, so you can see them. I added those on, or I'm going to add those on with a little bit of, or with some glue dots to give them some dimension. And I just like how they're almost like adding a little enamel dot or something, right? But when you get a piece of pattern paper that has all those florals on it, it's like, whoa, it's like a whole bunch of extra die cuts. Once you fussy cut them, it's perfect. Now I wanted to just add a little more detail, so I just tore up an edge of the paper along the bottom there. This is that floral paper that I was telling you about, fussy cutting it. And I'm going to use the rest of that gingham tag down at the bottom there behind that area, and then another little bit of gingham to the top. And I'm going to do that same tearing technique at the top diagonally across from the one that's at the bottom. And then I'm just going to take my stapler and add some staples. So you'll see me do that here. I'm going to add a little bit of my tape runner to the gingham paper and stick it to the back of my layout, so that it just peeks out from where I've torn that. This is a really easy technique. I'm sure you have seen this 100 times on layouts. It's a super easy way to add some interest to your layout. And now I'm just going to take my little stapler and just add some little staples to that for a little bit of extra texture. And then I will do that exact same thing to the top, just going diagonally from that area there. So I just wanted to take and just fold and, you know, distress the edges of that little torn area there a little bit more. And then you'll just see me here flip this around. The cool thing is that the cut aparts are on the back, so the color of the paper at the bottom on the back is not the same as on the bottom or at the top of the paper, right? So you can see when I tore that up, there's kind of some dark paper peeking through and a little bit of yellow. I love that. I think that variation just makes it look so, it just adds some cool interest to it. And now I'm just going to take and staple that as well. And so those little torn areas are at the top and the bottom. I just want to give a shout out to My Creative Scrapbook and these kits. Once again, I'm working with the main kit, and there's so much stuff in this main kit. I am going to create another layout. This is my second layout. I am going to create a third layout, and I know that I'm going to have lots of stuff left to create more layouts, which I will share here on my channel. I am also going to create a card with the products that I have, and I'm still going to share that as well. So I'm just showing you, this is that pattern paper there with the gingham and those florals and all the little floral pieces that I've cut out of that. You can see here there's tons, so I still have all of these as embellishments, which is amazing. So just showing you here the little finishing touches on my layout. That's the little cluster of those tiny little florals. I also added my journaling in strips. I just typed those on my computer and then cut them with my little Tim Holtz cutter, using those little glue dots to add some dimension to those little floral pieces. And then here I'm just pointing out the journaling here, just some simple journaling about crop and create. Just use my Tim Holtz trimmer here. I'm just showing you to cut those strips, and super easy way to add journaling. When you have a really clean layout like that, I feel like that type of journaling just looks really nice and just completes the layout nicely. So this is all finished. Thank you so much, guys. Make sure you check the description box below for the link to my Creative Scrapbook Kit Club and any of the other products that I used today here. Thank you so much. Have an amazing day, and I hope to see you here again on my channel another time. Bye-bye.